One of the things that we have seen very recently is the rising significance of Black voters in the public conversation. Everybody is talking about how important Black voters are. Can you say a little bit about how important Black voters were to this past election cycle?
It's interesting. I'm glad that the world has discovered us, but we've been here all the while. I think part of the difference this election cycle is that Black voters understand how important they are to themselves. And so in this last election, what you saw happen in Georgia and all throughout the nation is that Black voters were the key Democratic base, that there is no path to the White House without Black voters. There would not be President-elect Joe Biden or Vice President Kamala Harris had it not been for Black voters. But most importantly, the critical nature, I think, of what Black voters played in this election cycle is that we stopped fascism, that literally we held the Republicans who have been coddling Trump, has created mayhem that is still going on currently as we have this conversation in this country. We knew the critical nature of what we were up against, and we showed up and we showed out.
One of the ways that the structural racism that you talk about plays out is through voter suppression. Your group, Black Voters Matter, played a huge part in getting voters in Georgia and really across the South to get to the polls and to navigate all the people, all the systems that were attempting to stop their votes from counting. What can we do during the Biden-Harris administration to fight voter suppression so that this isn't a recurring battle?
A good start would be the passing of and the adoption of the John Lewis Restoration Voting Rights Act. That is in Congress right now, that's been passed by the House and it's just been sitting there in the Senate. And so I'm hoping that with the majority in the Senate, that we will have the power to be able to pass it. And I'm hoping that President-elect Biden will make that a key issue, but that's not enough. That doesn't go far enough. I think part of the reason why we see massive scale voter suppression, because those that use that as a tactic are never held accountable. I think the second thing we have to do too, is we actually have to make sure that the Justice Department is looking into these, that we take this serious, that all of these issues around voter suppression, that we literally prosecute those who have been bad actors at the highest extent of the law, because if there's no repercussions, then there's no way of really being able to stop that, because people will continue to be bad actors.
Do you think that President-elect Biden and Vice President-elect Harris are capable of repairing so much of the harm that has been done, not just in the last 4 years, but over decades? We're talking about racism, we're talking about economic deprivation, on top of the pandemic, on top of economic collapse. Do they have what it takes to get this thing done?
I think that it's really important for us to recognize that power concedes nothing without a demand, that racism is probably one of the most nonpartisan issues in this country, that it is equally distributed across both political parties. And so what we have to really recognize is that in order to make sure that we get the kind of agenda that we need for our community, right, that we have to believe, and I do believe that under President-elect Biden and Vice President Harris, that there is going to be a different kind of alignment, right, that neither one of them have aligned themselves with white nationalists. That is a difference. So I'm very hopeful that we will do what we need to do to make sure that we're holding and keeping President-elect Biden's feet to the fire, that we're literally having an agenda that is going to be about the advancement and protection of our community. And so I am hoping that he listens to the will of the people, and that he uses his political intellect and ability to be able to move and rally his party, that we actually move in a different direction than this country and this party has moved in the last hundreds of years.